Well, hello. My name is Teresa Tucker, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I've been stamping since about 2006. I also like to scrapbook and do a variety of other things. But today, I'm going to show you a card that uses the paper pumpkin, paper crafting, expressions in color, June 2021 kit. However, I'm not going to use the stamps that came with this for this particular card, but I will for the next one. Okay, so here is a list of the supplies that I'm using and the measurements for each piece and the instructions on how to put the card together. So I am actually going to use this stamp set for the card, and that did come with the paper pumpkin kit. So let's get started here. We have an 8.5. We had an 8.5 by 11.5 piece of thick basic cardstock, basic white cardstock, and I cut that down to 5.5 by 8.5, and then we scored it in the middle at 4.25. And so we're going to just fold that in half. So this card is very quick and simple, and I will provide the information on my website at teresatucker.net. And so from here, then we want to add we're going to need to use the contour dies. This comes in a bundle, or it's sold separately with these color contour stamps. So those come in a bundle, and you can get that on my website at the Shop Now button. So for this piece here, we need this soft succulent cardstock, and that is 4 by 5.25. Highland Heather cardstock, which is 3.25 by 4.5, and a second piece of white cardstock, which is 3.25 by 4.5. So the first thing we need to do here is to use the largest scallop die, which is this one here, and cut out our soft succulent cardstock. Now this barely fits on this size, but it will go through. I mean, it's large enough to cut this out. So I've already done that for this card. And this is what it looks like once it's gone through the stamp cut and emboss machine. So we're going to adhere this to the front of the card. You got to be careful with the multi-purpose glue because it can come out fast, and if it's near the edge, it's going to press out and get on the rest of your cardstock. So you just want to be careful when you're using it. Okay, so for the second piece, we're going to use this Highland Heather cardstock, and we're going to adhere it here in the center of this soft succulent. And I'm working rather far from where I'm sitting, so I hope these line up properly. All right, for this piece of cardstock, you want to use the second size largest die for the scallop. And you're going to cut that out like that with your stamp cut and emboss machine. And I already have one cut out. So it's going to look like this on your card. So first what we want to do is stamp this. And I'm going to use the Highland Heather Classic ink. Now I'm also using this, so here's what I typically will do, just so you know. I will stamp that on a scrap piece of paper. Let me grab that. Because these two stamps work together, they line up together. And the flower I'm actually going to stamp with the black Memento ink. And I'll stamp right over this one. See if I can get it lined up properly. It's not going to be perfect. It was not intended to be. Okay, so it's artistic. That's what it means, right? When you're artistic, it doesn't really line up, right? Okay. So now we're going to use the official piece of cardstock, and we're going to stamp this. I'm going to stamp it here. Something else, when you're using these photopolymer stamps, it's a good idea to have a pierce mat underneath it. It just gives it that extra cushion that you need to make a good solid stamp. So I will put this one here. There. You can't really tell much of a difference on this one because I was able to stamp pretty firmly. I have enough ink on my Highland Heather pad that I didn't have to worry about it being too light somewhere because I wasn't able to stamp firmly. So now we're going to use the Memento Black, and we're going to line this up here like so, and we'll line it up down here like that. So to simply, to keep this card rather simple, we're going to use, let's see, I'm looking for my ribbon. I'm going to pull out a little bit of this fresh freesia ribbon. And we're going to stamp our sentiment right across the bottom here. And I'm choosing Memento Black ink. Just ink that up. Now this is a sort of linen feel stamp pad, so sometimes it helps if you just twist your stamp just a little bit, or tap, tap, tap several times to get it fully loaded. I will stand up and stamp this here. There we go. Okay. So we're done stamping. Set this out of the way. And now we will adhere it to this card front. This is called the card base, actually. And then we'll center it right on the card like this. And then I'm going to take my fresh freesia ribbon and tie it in a bow, like so. And then you'll have to kind of work with it a little bit to get it the size that you need and to get it to make it as tight as you need it. It's kind of a back and forth. And sometimes mine turn out, some of them turn out better than others. So this ribbon, it wants to stick up here. So when I put this on the front of the card, I'm going to make sure that I use the glue dot under here to make that stay down. So when you get the paper pumpkin kits, they come with everything you need to create typically 9 cards, or it'll create like 6 cards and then a 3D project. And it's got the ink, all of the embellishments, everything is in the box. So we'll adhere that right there. And I'm going to grab my ribbon scissors and I'm going to clean up these ends a little bit. And cut this one down a little bit. Okay. So there's that card. So one thing I do like to do with my cards, however, is to go ahead and stamp on the inside just to give it a little decoration. Many times I don't write anything on the inside because I sell my cards, and also my daughters come and raid them and they want to write their own greeting on the inside. So I just put that little flower right there, and I'll also put a little flower down here in the corner of the envelope, and many times I will put something on the back, but not always. So that is that card, and that's why I'm live today, is to show you how to make this card and how simple it is. But we seem to have quite a bit of time still. This took me, 15 minutes? So I decided that if we had enough time, I was going to go ahead and create a card directly from the paper pumpkin kit. So for this card, first let me show you something. When you get your paper pumpkin kit, you're going to get, like I said earlier, everything you need to put these cards together. For this one in particular, it's got enough, everything is in there for 9 cards. And not only that, it gives you very detailed instructions on how to put the cards together. So it goes through step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, so on and so forth. So something that's good to know is when you see these 3 little dots like this, those are like these glue dots here. But Stampin' Up! Actually gives you something that's comparable, and it comes in the kit. And I don't see, I generally take them out because I use them for other projects, so I don't have them, but they're real flat and it's hard to see them, so it's safe to use them under vellum. The other part I wanted to point out to you was that when you see these are actually Stampin' Dimensionals, and these are thick, they're foam, and you put those on the back of your greetings, or however, whatever you want to do, or whatever they suggest, that's how you use those. And then it just kind of makes it pop up off of the card a little bit. So I will give you an example. I'm going to work on this card. I think it's so pretty. So let me set my instructions up right there and we'll get started. So for this card, we have the Bumblebee cardstock. Now this is already cut and scored for you. All you need to do is fold it in half. Very easy. It's in my bone folder. It's always a good idea to burnish your cards so that they stay closed and it's got a nice crisp crease to it. Okay, so in following the instructions, I need to put this down. Now this vellum is stamped and it feels the same on both sides. So I'll go ahead and just center it here on my card base like this. Now for this, we want to use our glue dots and we want to use those in the center because that's where these flowers are going to be, and that will cover up the glue dots underneath. So I like to use my pick tool to place these dots. When I'm working with something smaller, I'll actually just adhere the dot directly to what I'm needing to glue down. So I'm going to put one there, here, here, and a fourth one. It'll go right here, like that. All right. So now we'll turn this over and put it on the front. Let me make sure that there's not a direction, and there is. So all of these leaves are going up this way, so that's going to be the top. Okay. And then we're going to punch these out and put these together on the front of the card. So everything that we get as far as these punch outs, they're ready to be pulled out of the, they're already punched and they just need to be pulled out. So, and then also for the other things like the label and so forth, those are all perforated in a sheet, and those, you just take those apart as well. So I'm trying to be careful with this because of all the leaves, and I don't want to accidentally tear something. It can be quite fragile at times. This reminds me of what I was doing earlier today. I was punching out all sorts of figures and stuff for my Sunday school class to use on the felt board. And I had like 16 large pages to punch out. So we just take our time to do this. We don't need to hurry. And if you're watching this video and it's the recording and it's not live, then you can back up or go forward at your own pace. So happy Veterans Day to any of the veterans that we have out there. We're so thankful for your service. And we just really appreciate you very, very much. So thank you so much for your service. Okay, so I'm going to throw this part away. Okay, so now we can start putting this together. And it doesn't really tell us in what order these go in. So it looks like the pink one is on the bottom. So we'll line that up there, and I will use a glue dot to put that in place. Now here's what I was telling you. I will apply this glue dot directly to my embellishment, and then I just pull it right off. Okay, now this piece we will, let's see, we'll put it, oops, let's get this out of here. That doesn't belong. So to kind of balance this out a little bit, we'll put this here in this direction, and then this one will go probably more like this. So let's go ahead and put our glue dot on the back of this piece. And then we're going to lay it down here. We're going to try to keep it on the card because we want it to fit in the envelope nicely without getting crunched. And then this one looks like it's a little larger, a little more spread out, so I have to pay attention to where I'm putting it. Let's see. What about there? There we go. How do you like that? So the kit also comes with this evening evergreen twine. So let me get my scissors. And it also tells you in here, in the instructions, like for this it says you're going to need 12 inches. And interestingly enough, Stampin' Up! Has given you a ruler right across here. So one end is in centimeters and the other end is in inches. So let's go for 12 inches. So there's 6 and 6 more. Cut that. While I'm working on this, I want to tell you that I do have a craft and hobbies group page. You can just look at my group pages right here on this video. If you go to just look at the pages, the group pages. I think they're over on the right hand side. And you can sign up. It's free. It's public. Once a month, I get together. I go live in a messenger room, and then anybody who wants to join me can bring their craft or whatever you're working on. It doesn't have to be Stampin' Up. It can be your knitting or drawing or what have you. It could be anything like that. There's no requirement to have anything. Okay, now I'm not sure how I want this on here yet, but I'm going to go ahead and put it down and then see if I like it. I think it looks okay, actually. So we're going to take this piece and stamp it. Now let me see what I want to see what stamp this comes with. Okay. The other thing to mention is that the paper pumpkin does not come with this case, but you can order these online. You can order them from my store. And then also you can go to my webpage at teresatucker.net and find the inserts for these. So you just simply insert them right in here like this. And then it's got on the back all of your stamps. and it just keeps them right here, easy to find, because usually when I'm done with my paper pumpkin, I use the box for something else, and sometimes I use the elements that come in the box for something else, so I don't always save the box to put everything back in that I don't use. So I think I'm going to use the congratulations here. See if it fits on here. Yeah, I think so. I'm going to use the bumblebee stamp pad, and I need to get, so another thing is that Stampin' Up! Gives you a D block, which is a little bit bigger than this, and so that you can use that, and you only get it in your first kit, so you have to keep the D block for future paper pumpkins. So it's actually about this size. And see how that lines up perfectly right there. Now I'm going to bring back in my Pierce mat, and I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap. I want to make sure I've got everything here in the cameras for you to see it. And I used the grid paper to line up my tag like that. And then I'll stamp this in the bumblebee ink. Get it good and inked. It sounds like my granddaughter. And then I'm going to peer over. Hopefully my hair's not in your way. I want to make sure that I get this in the center. And then be careful that you don't rock your stamp too much, because you can get a halo around it. Let me see if I can show you. So when you stamp it, if you rock it too much, well, that one didn't do it. But the rubber stamps are notorious for getting a halo if you rock it. So these are fine. But just the regular cling stamps sometimes will, you'll get a halo around it. But for these photopolymer stamps, it's not as likely to happen. My lovely cleaning pad. It's just water, so all of these are water soluble. Let's get this out of the way. And we'll bring our card back in. Now, even though Stampin' Up! Provides the dimensionals, like I told you, I very rarely use them. I only use them for small projects, but when I'm putting a tag down like this, I like to use the foam strips. They come in a like 5x5, and then you can cut them to whatever length you want. And it just, it's a more solid adhesion. And usually I would go ahead and cut this piece to be longer, but this was already cut, and I decided I'd use it because it'll work too. Okay. All right. That's our card. I hope you like it. So let me look at one more thing on here. Okay, so these are some of the embellishments that Paper Pumpkin provided. Looks like it's a little crooked. It's shifted a little. So these are, usually they're sticky on the back, so they go down pretty easily. For this particular card, they're suggesting that you use 5 of them, and they've got 2 of them up here, 2 of them here, and 1 there, but you can put yours anywhere you want. You don't have to follow any of the instructions. People go rogue. If you look online for Paper Pumpkin on YouTube, you'll see a lot of alternatives. People have some fantastic ideas. So the sticky didn't come off. See right there is that glue dot. Put it on here. This end of the pick tool has putty on it so that you can pick up your element and then place it down. So the elements that don't have a sticky back, if they're not sticky back elements, then you will have to use like a little bit of liquid glue, and you just want a dot. You don't even really have to see it, just barely see it, and then that's enough. And you'll have to use that to put your element down. Okay. And we'll put a couple up here. And then we'll put one more. We'll just put it down here like that. Okay. And one last thing. I want to stamp the inside, and I'm just going to stamp it like I did last time with this very small flower. And I'll use Bumblebee. And my envelope. Stamp it down here and close this up. So that's really it for my demonstration today. I will have this video for you to watch later, and I'll also have it on my YouTube channel. I'll include all of this information so that you have it, and it'll be on my blog as well. So it'll probably won't get out there until tomorrow. But I have one other card that I made, and I used the Contour, Color and Contour photopolymer stamp set along with the dies that coordinate with it, which we used for this card here. So here's another card, just like this one, only I used a different stamp set. And it's just as gorgeous. This one opens this way. And then I put a little bud down there. And then the same with on the envelope as well. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed being here with me. And let's get this all together. And here is the envelope for this one and this one. I'll take this out of the way. It'll be a little easier to see these. There we go. So I hope you like my demonstrations today. And I thank you so much for being here and supporting me. I appreciate it. Be sure to check out my website, teresatucker.net, and you can look at what events I have coming up there. And, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. So if you have any questions or if you want to get a hold of me, you can reach me at tjtucker2013@gmail.com, or you can call me, leave a text. Texts are better because I have a robo-killer on my phone, and a lot of times calls don't go through. But if you text me at 217-469-2593. Thank you very much. You have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.